Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I've made a few changes over the last week, which you probably noticed if you watch any of them at all. I did change my name, so I went from Land of the Lost to Eclectic Chronicler. It made it easier for some new people to find me, since there was a lot of Land of the Lost channels out there. And I wanted to try to find something that kind of encapsulated what I've been doing. So that's what I came up with, and yeah, so let's get into it. These are going to be a series of articles about pyramids in California. The first one is from 1850. Ruins at an ancient California city. Antiquarians will feel deeply interested in the discovery of vast regions of ancient ruins near San Diego and within a day's march of the Pacific Ocean at the head of the Gulf of California. Portions of temples, dwellings, lofty stone pyramids, 7 of these within a mile square, and massive granite rings or circular walls, round venerable trees, columns and blocks of hieroglyphics, all speak of some ancient race of men now forever gone, their history, their history, their history, something unknown to any of the existing families of mankind. In some points, these ruins resemble the recently discovered cities of Palenque, etc., near the Atlantic or Mexican Gulf Coast. In others, the ruins of ancient Egypt. In others, again, the monuments of Phoenicia. And yet, in many features, they differ from all that I have referred to. I observe that the discoverers deem them to be antediluvian, while the present Indians have a tradition of a great civilized nation, which their ferocious forefathers utterly destroyed. The region of the ruins is called by the Indians the Valley of Mystery. So that's something that you don't hear about in our history classes in school. 7 old pyramids in ancient California. Okay, and the next one is from 1846. New map of North America. Mr. J.H. Colton, number 86 Cedar Street, has just published a map of North America, beautifully engraved on copper. The compiler, having had access to the latest discoveries and the most authentic sources of information, has been enabled to present to the public what is called one of the most correct maps extent of this continent. The interest felt in Oregon, California, and Mexico will make this map very acceptable to a large portion of the community at the present time. There is a valuable table of statistics on one corner of the map, and over the title is engraved a pretty view of the great natural curiosity of the pyramid in Pyramid Lake, Upper California, discovered by Captain Fremont. This publication completes a series of 6 valuable maps of similar size: Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, North America, and West Indies. So here we have another one, Pyramid Lake in Upper California, with a pretty view of the great natural curiosity of the pyramid inside the lake. And I have read many an article on Pyramid Lake, but they never refer to the pyramid inside of it, so I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, the next one is from 1850. Interesting discovery of ancient ruins in Northern California and New Mexico. A long account is given by a writer of the discovery he has made in Northern California and New Mexico of ancient ruins, pillars of granite 11 feet high, which still retain numerous traces of the pictures of men, plants, and animals intermixed with, here we go again, hieroglyphic characters. Another discovery on the Colorado was that of American pyramids, which the writer describes as follows. Here, in the form of an ellipse, is an immense basin, extending towards the north, as we have since ascertained, the distance of 3 miles, its longest diameter, while from east to west it is hardly 2 miles, and so perfect in its form, one can hardly believe that the banks were not cut and carved to a geometrical line. The elevation that surrounds this vast amphitheater is but slightly timbered, and its green and shining banks are plainly discernible throughout its whole circumference, except where the view is obstructed by a number of conical hills that raise out of the mists of this jungle forest. There are 7 of these conical hills, visible at a point 100 rods either to the right or left of the ravine, 5 of them covered with verdure to their summits, the other 2 appearing like barren rocks. And the fact that the 5 first named lie in a direct line and varying but little from the true meridian first led us to conjecture that possibly they might be artificial structures. Our suspicion was fully confirmed on finding that the 2 barren ones, with the center one of the line of 5, were also in line, and crossing the other at right angles. As we neared the point that brought us in range, our curiosity was turned to amazement at finding the nearest of these barren hills, though 1/4 of a mile distant, to be a pyramid of stone, and the first ever seen in America, bearing in every respect the outline and general appearance of the Egyptian pyramid. What? Having personally visited and being familiar with the construction of the Egyptian pyramids, I can speak positively of the almost exact similarity, composed of large blocks of stone, nearly 3 feet thick at the base of the pyramid and from 6 to 10 feet in length, placed one upon another, and each successive layer receding about 15 inches. The only marked difference being the apparent great age of this as compared with those on the banks of the Nile. So he's saying these are older. Many of the crevices between the blocks of the same layer, of course, being more than a foot wide, and so generally are the upper edges worn away, presenting a round rather than an angular corner, that it is with difficulty their ascent is made. In addition to the 7 immense structures that form the principal feature of the valley, when viewed from the surrounding heights or summit of the plain, there are numberless objects of startling interest to be met with in almost any direction we choose to cut our way. Broken columns of stone, obelisks with monuments of every conceivable shape, many of them covered with hieroglyphics, some almost totally obliterated, while many remain as perfect as could be desired, fill this valley with such a complication of wonders that to a mind desirous of knowing the whole history of its mighty and unparalleled magnificence, its final decline and total ruin, it presents so vast a field for study and contemplation as almost to induce a wish that they were not half so numerous as they really are. So they're saying that there's so many, and they just have no idea what the heck went on in America before they got there. It's supposed to be a new world. Okay, this one is from 1864. A pyramid similar to those of Egypt, but smaller, has been discovered in California. The courses are of stone, 6 feet long and from 1 to 3 feet thick. An Eastern company has purchased the Rockport, Indiana coal mine for $45,000. This must be a different article. This from this pyramid one. Unless a mining company bought it and decided to take it down and transport it. I don't know. Okay. This one, I guess that was the last of the California ones that I could find, but I'll read this last one. It's from 1890. Let me just scroll up here. An ancient burial ground, a wonderful discovery reported by Texas antiquarians. Special to the Republic. Elrod, Texas. Considerable excitement was created here today when it was learned that an ancient sepulchre had been discovered near here by Dr. Fears and Major Fiddler of this community and Professor Ashley of Springfield, Illinois. It appears that the doctor made his first discovery 6 years ago, since which time he has spent much of his spare time in the region making investigations. Some months ago, he took Major Fiddler into his confidence. The exhuming of the ancient resting place of the dead began in a very quiet way. It was soon discovered that something of an historical nature had been brought to light when Professor Ashley was wired to come at once. The professor arrived last Friday. It is learned that the catacomb contains many petrified remains of human beings, some very ancient sculptures and weapons of war. The professor claims, there's my macaroni and cheese. The professor claims there is some clue to dates that will be of great historical importance. It is further whispered that considerable treasure has been found. The place has not yet been located by the public, but it is supposed to be somewhere on the vast domains of Honorable Philip Wethley. So, another burial ground right outside of California and Texas. And let's see, while my mac and cheese is cooling, this was a cool story that I read. I will share it with you. 1896. A marvelous clock. Tiny human skeletons sound the phasing hours. The most marvelous clock ever built is the property of an Indian prince in one of the inland districts of the empire. The dial of this clock was outlined in gold upon a carved slab of some peculiar marble, and beneath it was suspended between two uprights a silver gong. Then a broad flat surface of marble spread out before that, littered from one end to end with miniature bones and skulls, and here and there tiny hammers with little round balls for heads. The bones seemed entirely disconnected and looked only like so much rubbish remnants of the tiny dead. The clock stood in the dining hall where the ceremonious meal was being served, and as 1 o'clock drew near, the prince called the visitors' attention to a rustling among the dry bones. With a faint clatter, they began to rise and come together. A skull set itself upon the shoulder structure, and from the mass of dry bones, one tiny skeleton rose complete with a hammer clutched in his bony fingers. He stood beside the shining gong until the minute hand pointed precisely to the hour. Then, with a quick swing, he drove the hammer against the shining surface, and a silver note, fine as thread, burst forth and echoed away, so soft endance among the distant pillars of the place. before its whispers ceased in the stillness, the little skeleton had, like the ghost of John James Christopher Benjamin Bynes, gone down again, and the scattered bones, tiny, lay motionless once more upon the marble plain. At 2 o'clock, the same ceremony was gone through, with save that this time 2 figures rose from out of the heap of bones, and each one struck one sturdy stroke. Of its history, of its well-nigh magical workings, its proud owner would say nothing. So yeah, some kind of weird. I know my grandma used to have a clock like this on her mantle, and I guess they had some fancy ones that did some weird crap. Alright, let's see if I can get one more in. No, because the next video I do is going to be about Greenland, and I got a bunch of them for that. Alright, well, I'm starving. It's 8:31. I haven't eaten anything too much today, so I'm going to go dig into my vegetarian macaroni and cheese, and I will be back. Have a great night, everyone.